through your open view code on channel 150. It's Super TV powered by Superbets. But alternatively, you can also check us out either on Facebook or on YouTube. It's as easy as going on those platforms, searching for Super TV, following and subscribing on the respective platforms, and you can catch Mo Sports live every weekend day from 1 to 2 p.m. Today, we kick it off again with the Mo Riddle. Today's Mo Riddle is one that I feel like a lot of us will not know, but a lot of us who know football very well, African football that is, will know who this player is. So this is how it reads. It says, I'm a Senegalese international who was born in Spain. I represented Senegal 32 times, scored only 5 goals. Who knows?
What?
Am I reading the right riddle?
Yeah.
I made it through the ranks at Lazio before moving to Monaco and later joining Inter Milan and Sampdoria on loan.
Why are you confused?
I'm just wondering, like, okay, let's hear it again, people at home. It says, I'm a Senegalese international who was born in Spain, represented Senegal 32 times, scored 5 goals only, made it through the ranks at Lazio before joining Monaco, later joining Inter Milan and Sampdoria on loan. Who am I? The thing is, I don't know the answer. But if you do know the answer, the number is 071-621-4746. You know when you read the question in an exam and you don't know the answer, you feel like the question is wrong. Because you're like, but did I study for this one? It was on page 32. OB.KNOWS, what should people look forward to on today's show?
Well, Mo, on today's show, we can look forward to talking about Orlando Pirates being halted by TS Galaxy. Well, TS Galaxy actually beating Orlando Pirates yesterday in a clash at the Orlando Stadium. And also, we'll be talking about Euro 2020, trying to give a little build-up on towards what's going on there, what to expect, who are the players that are missing out in this competition. But for all that, tune in and stay tuned onto Mo Sports. We'll kick it off with what's going on in the PSL.
TS Galaxy reminding everyone that they're going to be a top 8 side come the end of the season. So they're making sure that they're collecting all 3 points wherever they go. And they started off by making sure that the Bones might have been scored in Africa, but back home as well, they're still catching L's. And that was basically TS Galaxy's story when they beat Orlando Pirates 1-0. It was a very kosher result. I mean, you look at a 1-0, even if you didn't see the game, you don't think it was a big thrashing. You just think it was a very close-ended game. And one lucky chance, one lucky opportunity made it to the back of the net.
Yeah, it's pretty much what happened. But also Orlando Pirates missing some very important chances. I mean, Lorch and Mango, 2 players which I think are one of Pirates' best players and players that Pirates should be counting on in terms of getting goals. Both disappointing. Mango had a 1-on-1 opportunity. The score was already 1-0. Actually, Pohlongo scoring once again against Orlando Pirates. In the last game, he was only scored the equalizer to make it 1-1. And this time around, he's the one who's the difference in the match, actually giving TS Galaxy the win. And it actually happened in the first 2 minutes of the game. And Mponchan, a goalkeeper who's been in goals for Orlando Pirates for the past 2 games, was actually very impressive against Amazulu. But right now, I feel like in yesterday's game, especially with that goal, there was a moment of hesitation from Mponchan when the cross came in from Sidat. And instead of him, he looked like he was making the right decision, but then he hesitated and he went back. And when he went back, it obviously confused the Pirates defenders as well. And it was actually a scrap because the ball was headed into the air and it came back down and it was headed back into the back of the net. And I think Mponchan came out to gather up the cross, it would have been a completely different story. But that's exactly what happened in the game, and the Pirates were chasing the game the entire game. 1-on-1 chance missed by Mango, a chance for Lorch as well. He could have picked out someone else, but he decided to go alone, missing the target completely. So it was a disappointing performance overall for Orlando Pirates, and the 2 red cards in the game as well, a big talking point.
So now the biggest thing that we need to come and put our heads around is that what does this mean for the likes of Kaizer Chiefs? I mean, they're also chasing a top 8 finish. And now that the game in hand that TS Galaxy has been played, I mean, they would have counted Pirates to have gotten all 3 points in this game, but it went either way. What does that mean for those teams at the bottom?
For me, I think Pirates are sabotaging Chiefs. They're sabotaging Chiefs because right now, it looks unlikely for Kaizer.
But wait, let's slow this down. I mean, you're saying they're sabotaging Chiefs, but Chiefs has already had their strike. They've already sacked their manager.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like they're more sabotaging the Orlando Pirates coach? Because Zimbabwe, there's a whole strike that's going to happen, and one of the demands, the chief demand, is that we need ourselves a new manager. So don't you think that this game just adds fuel to that fire?
Well, look, why I'm saying that sabotage is because they don't want Chiefs to be in the top 8. That's what I'm saying. that's what I'm saying, right? But
at what cost?
Yeah, I get, but at a very big cost. No, I'm not saying that that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Don't quote him.
But all I'm saying is, Pirates should have done much better in yesterday's game. I think one thing that we are saying right now about Zimbabwe is that match looked like it might just happen. And if it does happen, we've seen already Ivan Khoza. He's one person who who responds to the demands of fans. And fans wanted Eric Tinkler out, and Eric Tinkler was gone. So it's one of those things that I think that if the strike is going to happen, of course, Joseph Zimbabwe might just be stepping out. And I do think that I wouldn't say the players are sabotaging him. I do think that the players can give a lot more. I mean, we've seen it. We saw the difference between when Rulani Mukwena had the team. I mean, they played well but couldn't finish. And when Zimbabwe came, they were finishing all of a sudden. And Mango also getting the Golden Boot award at the end of the season. So I would like to see that Pirates step up for Zimbabwe and score more goals as they did last season.
So maybe they just want the coach out. But let's go see what's happening in terms of the numbers, because I asked the big question. What does this mean for Kaizer Chiefs? The only way to find out is to SMS Super TV to 30978. And once you've done so, don't forget, that is the first step. Then you have to do the registration process, join the family, and then you can start making your bets. And now let's go to the website and let's go see how to navigate to the Superstats website. So we arrive here at the Superstats website. It's as easy as going onto the homepage, going to match info, that's short for match information. And for those of us that know how to read score, we go to statistics. I think somebody must have like those old episodes of Mo Sports, like, you couldn't say statistics, look at you. But now I can. So let's go to South. Let's search for South. Perfect. So South Africa, PSL, and then let's scroll down to the mid-table. Yeah, no. I mean, already we can see what it means for Orlando Pirates. I mean, Orlando Pirates now level on points with Golden Arrows. So Golden Arrows might still think to themselves that there's an opportunity for them to go play Confed next season. But let's scroll down, nobody knows, because Pirates is not in a really bad situation. They're in a bad situation, but it's not really that bad. Here's the bad situation, Amantuasekaya. As you can see, Kaizer Chiefs, 30 points is what they have at this moment in time. What this means for them is that the team in 8th are a whole 5 points away from the team sitting in 11th. So they'll have to win 2 games in a row and hope that TS Galaxy drop all their points. Not only that, but Baroka and Bloom Celtic would also have to drop all their points for Kaizer Chiefs to sneak into that top 8. It's starting to look less likely and less likely for that to happen. And looking at their form in the last 5 games, you can understand why they had to sack the manager. 2 draws and 3 losses in their last 5, showing that they didn't have a good run of games coming into this round of fixtures. And there's only 2 fixtures left of the season, if I'm not mistaken. And it's not going to look good for Kaizer Chiefs. I mean, let me know. Just click on them real quick. Let's see where they're going. I know you want to find out where they're going. Who they're playing next. Eh?
Bad, boy.
It's bad, I know. Let's go. Next match. Hey, TS Galaxy. Look, they are the team that can upset these. You know when they say that someone was designed just to cause you stress? That's TS Galaxy, boy. Like, TS Galaxy came into existence just to cause Kaizer Chiefs a stress. They came in a couple of seasons ago, beat them in the Nedbank Cup final. Now they're the team keeping them out of the top 8. Never mind the top 4, top 3, Africa, the top 8, everybody. But there it is, Golden Arrow sitting in the 2nd position right now, going to be facing Kaizer Chiefs, and Kaizer Chiefs have to go travel and face TS Galaxy. Oh, let's put it down, who knows. I feel stressed. I feel stressed. When I look at this kind of next 2 fixtures, I fear that what happens if they drop all 60 points? Do they end up in a relegation battle? Do they end up playing the playoffs? Because that is likely. They cannot afford to drop these points.
It's very likely. It's very, very likely. And I think because it's Kaizer Chiefs, we were thinking it's very far-fetched. We're thinking it's idea that's far-fetched, and it's really not. Because, you look at TS Galaxy and you look at Golden Arrows. I mean, TS Galaxy just come from beating Orlando Pirates, and you just mentioned their history against Kaizer Chiefs. And you look at a Golden Arrows side, which are looking pretty good right now, and they probably, with that loss for Orlando Pirates, they'll be thinking to themselves, hey, this is a chance for us to actually get into African football. So I do think that they're going to take that as a bonus to push them, into that next game. So I think it's very likely for Kaizer Chiefs to be struggling and battling it out in the relegation battle. But I don't think that they'll be playing in this 2nd division. Let me at least say that.
Okay, the NFD, I don't think that happens. I feel like if that does happen, it breaks South African football forever. But let's move on and go see what's happening elsewhere on the continent.
I think it would actually go to the boardrooms. You see what's going on in PSL.
Yeah, it'll go to the boardroom.
It would definitely go to the boardroom.
It would definitely, like, this season, we want to sub. We want to sub this season. Let's go to Africa and go see what's happening there. Another team that's not living up to what they need to do is Zamalek. Like we showed you the last time, Zamalek have a good lead over Al Ahly in terms of games they've played. But don't forget, they had 5 games in hand. I mean, they played 5 games over Al Ahly, leaving Al Ahly with 5 games in hand. But the problem now remains that they've played their 6th game. They've lost, or did they lose or draw?
They drew.
They drew.
They drew 0-0 with Alguena.
See, I was even saying they lost because I was that sure that they've dropped some serious points. And now that opens the window wide open for Al Ahly to come in those 6 games. If Al Ahly has a perfect record, who knows? They are running away with it.
It's very hard to see Al Ahly having a perfect record. How and lie. I mean, like, yes, it is Peter Musman at the helm, but we've seen it a couple of times happen already this season. You know, they're capable of dropping those points. But, you know, look, Zamalek have themselves to blame. I mean, they played in a game where they played against a 10-man Alguena side, and they still couldn't, you know, capitalize on that. So I do think that they have themselves to blame. And by the time when, if this also, you know, comes back to haunt them, they will really, really remember this game, and they'll be hoping that they'll be thinking that they should have, you know, taken all the 3 points in this game.
But don't forget that Alguena is not a bad side themselves. They've been mid-table for the longest time in the Egyptian Premier League. We'll go check that out just now. But remember this: that Zamalek are the main contenders against Al Ahly to win the title. I mean, when you look at last season, I mean, 2 trophies there to play against Al Ahly, and then that was all in the final. We're talking about in the Continental final, we're talking about in the Cup final, we're talking about them being second in the league last season. So they're the team that is actually in. Let me not say it. I was about to say it, but there's a tournament in this room. You might come in and correct me and say, no, that's not how you say it. So let's go to the website. Let me go show you what's happening in terms of the numbers in that league. At this moment in time, Al Ahly are sitting second with 41 points, but there is Zamalek sitting on 55 points now because they've drawn that game. Now, if you look at the record they had before this game, they had 3 wins in a row, meaning that they were coming into their own in a very good way. But since then, they've been slipping because of what happened in continental competition. Maybe they didn't want to leave that early. Maybe they just wanted to stay a little bit longer. I mean, last season they were the bridesmaids, so they were hoping that this season they could actually go on to be the bride. But it was not going to play out that way. So let's go down to Windows Scorefind Alguena. They're sitting all the way down in 12th. They're sitting there just above the relegation zone with a few points. In fact, they're sitting a whole world away. See, that's why my argument with the PSL was like, maybe we need 2 more teams. Maybe we need 4 more teams, you know, because now look at where Kaizer Chiefs is sitting. I feel like that would be the chat. The moment they say Kaizer Chiefs is going to the second division, they'll be like, okay. Let's make a 20-team league. Let's make a 20-team league now. Because imagine a PSL without the Kaizer Chiefs.
It could be disastrous. I mean, yeah. I don't really, you know, like we saw Juventus go down years ago, you know, into the Serie B. But of course, that was because of it was boardroom issues. You know, it was boardroom issues that had to do with gambling and all these things. But right now, we're looking at a Kaizer Chiefs side which is poor on the field, and you know, what are the chances that, you know, they could actually be going down? I mean, the chances are very high in terms of, you know, the way they've been playing. But I do think that this conversation about 18 to 20 teams, it could be very well alive if we see Kaizer Chiefs.
We see that. I'd be so happy. Maybe that's what we've always needed, that little nudge, that little push. But don't forget that we're living in COVID times at this moment in time, and one of the biggest things that South Africa went into a level 2 lockdown restrictions last night. But Pyramids FC, like we did report that they were experiencing a lot of COVID outbreaks in their team, and now OB.KNOWS, I hear that they've closed down the training grounds. Yeah,
they've closed down the training grounds. So I did say that, you know, one thing that was going to happen yesterday was that they were going to test again. So by yesterday when we broke out the news, they'd already tested twice. So they wanted to, you know, get a 3rd test and make sure that, you know, all the tests were correct. And indeed, most of the squad players in their team were infected with the COVID-19 virus. So it's a situation which I feel like, the EFA was also asked, the Egyptian Federation was also asked, are you going to now call off the season, because they did it last season, and the question was, are they going to call it off? But they're saying that they're going to, you know, take it for the long haul. They're definitely going to go and complete this season, and they're even saying that it might even end up in finishing up in September. You know, it depends how things go. So their contingency plan is already there to say that should we need to stop the league, we will stop it, but it's not going to be cancelled. We're going to finish it in September, no matter
So do you
what.
think that if there's only one player who didn't test positive, they'll have like a team, like get 2 dustbins, get these 2 guys to play over 10 minutes, whoever wins gets the 3 points for the league. But it's fine. Let's talk about now what Al Ahly's president had to say to Peter Mosimane. I mean, about Peter Mosimane as well. We have the message. It was a nice text, OB.KNOWS. I feel like if your boss was to send you a text like that, I'd feel like, yo, I'm top of the world.
Yeah, I mean, his name is Mahmoud Al-Khatib. Al-Khatib, that's his name, the president of Al Ahly. And this is what he had to say. But the first time I saw my diamond, my team was 6 years without winning the CAF Champions League. When I brought him over to Cairo, the doors of Africa opened, and he brought to my hands the desired medal of Africa. And we all know which medal that is that he's talking about. He's talking about the CAF Champions League medal.
Are you sure it's not medals?
Yeah, but he's speaking about that crown jewel, the one that his team haven't had for 6 years. And
CAF.
Yeah, the CAF Champions League competition, and it's what Peter Musman has brought into this team. Of course, we can say that he only came in and played the semi-finals and we played the final. Yes, we can say that, but according to him, he still believes that Peter's the one who brought it to him, and all credit to Peter Musman. We can't take it away. We've been saying that we can't take it away from him, but we honestly feel really, really appreciated if we could do it again. Just do it this time, full season.
To prove a point to
just keep to prove a point to all these other guys. I mean, this guy at the back of us right here, he believed in Peter, and that's what he's saying.
He's not touched,
most of the people didn't believe in Peter, my guy.
So he must win it again just to prove a point.
So
you hear that, people at home, super viewers, that is the message. If you buy a Ferrari, buy 2 to prove a point. If you buy a PM, buy 4 just to prove a point. So that's the thing we're going to go into doing right now in our personal lives. If you're going to put a bet on something, make it a multi-bet slip. One time, just to show them it's not a fluke. We'll be back right after the break.
You're locked into Super TV, only on OpenView, channel 150.
How to register a new SuperBets account. SMS Super TV to 30978 and you will receive an SMS with a sign-up link. Click the link you receive, which will direct you to the SuperBets mobile site. Click Login. On the pop-up, click Register Now. Fill in the required details on the form, from your ID number all the way to your contact details. Be sure to choose a strong password that you will remember. After filling in your details, click Submit. In a few minutes, you should receive an OTP if your details were entered correctly. Back onto the SuperBets mobile site, type in your OTP. In a few seconds, you will receive a welcome SMS confirming your new account. A 50 Rand sign-up bonus will reflect in your account within 24 hours of your sign-up. Welcome to our family. SuperBets, bet with the biggest.
Cece, why so jealous? Just SMS Super TV to 30978 and get lucky yourself.
Big dog status, I'm a big dog vet. I pull up on the block in a big Corvette.
You are watching Super TV, OpenView, channel 150.
Welcome back, super viewers, to channel 150 on your OpenView decoder. It's Super TV powered by SuperBets. This is Mo Sports, and I'm Mo. This is OB.KNOWS, and together we talk all things football. Now, before we get carried away and I start telling you what's coming up right now, let's tell you about the Mo Riddle. Right, the Mo Riddle is that piece of trivia just to test your footballing knowledge. And today, the player is a Senegalese international. He came to the ranks at Lazio, played for the likes of Monaco. I heard Inter Milan is in there and Sampdoria, if I'm not mistaken. Those are the teams he's played for. But if you know who the Senegalese international is, don't forget the number is 071-621-4746. Once you've saved that number under the name Super TV, you just go on your WhatsApps and you can send us the answer. And let's see how well you know your football. Now, welcome back to it. If you're just joining us, you missed out on the conversation around local football, and we spoke about the Continental Giants, which is Al Ahly, and what their president had to say to their manager at this moment in time. But now we move on to the footballing news from around the world. Starting off with the elephant in the room, which is Mauricio Pochettino. Now, I was telling OB.KNOWS off air that Pochettino now, if he wants to be successful, he needs to get sacked by PSG, because for some reason, both the managers that won continental competitions in Europe, which is the Europa League and the Champions League, were coaches that were sacked by PSG.
He doesn't have to wait that long.
He just needs to wait half a season. I mean, PSG will sack you like come January.
But remember that Klopp lost. He lost the Champions League.
That's a different narrative.
It's not a different narrative.
That's a different narrative.
It's not a different. It's not a different narrative because he couldn't push Spurs the next season, the complete next season. So this coming season will be his full season, his first full season since that final at Spurs. So what I'm saying is that if Klopp did it, if who's the other one who did it? Who else did it? Tuchel did it because he was in the final last season. But he won it this season. Poch can do it next season.
So let me explain. The reason why we're talking about Mauricio Pochettino is because he just penned a 2-year deal with PSG. And the question is, if Mbappe stays, will he be successful? If Mbappe leaves, what will then success look like? Would it be like, okay, you won yourself the cup, it's fine. We don't have Mbappe, we can take that for now. But Obi knows, let me first explain one thing, right? Thomas Tuchel did a very historic thing. He won the Champions League title a season later with a different team. It wasn't the same team.
I get it. But this is Chelsea we're talking about, and we said that it's history. You know what I'm saying? It's history, right? It's history repeating itself, right? But let's take it back to Oli on the wheel. Remember what happened with Oli when he first came to Man United? There was power in there, innit? There was power in that team, and we had Oli's back on the wheel, right? Unfortunately, Oli is not a championship winning manager. Then they couldn't win anything. But they managed to beat PSG, you know, in the Champions League, which is something they celebrate, right? All I'm saying is that with Tuchel signing an extension with Chelsea, what are the chances that things could just fall apart?
All right, but Obino's getting ahead of himself. Let's get him back on track. Obino's, let's move on to talk about Juve. Now, Juve, they want to extend Morata's stay. So Morata is Alvaro Morata, the number 9 from Spain, and they want to keep him in for another season, which means that now the loan deal that they got from Atletico Madrid needs to either become a permanent deal. That means they're signing him for a second time.
Well, it's not going to be a permanent deal. It's going to be another loan deal. That's
so extending the loan.
Yeah, that's the conversation that they said.
They want him, but they don't want
him.
Yeah,
I guess maybe his price tag is maybe just too high for them to pay. I mean, we do know that Juventus are that team that have been buying players for free. But one thing they've been doing is they've been paying quite a lot of wages, which is kind of killing their transfer budget as well. You know, so Morata, I think he's a solid player for them. I mean, if we check the stats out of what he's done this season, I mean, there you go. I mean, 32 appearances in the Serie A, 11 goals and 10 assists. I think that's brilliant. Eight Champions League games, 6 goals, 1 assist. 3 Coppa Italia appearances, 2 goals, 1 assist. I think he's been a brilliant signing for Juventus. Although he has been absolutely in shambles the past few seasons, we haven't seen the Morata which we saw at Real Madrid, you know, years ago. We haven't seen that Morata in a very long time.
Do you remember Madrid Morata? Do you remember?
Madrid Morata was hot, my guy. He would come off the bench and score goals. He was not a permanent fixture.
Everyone is hot when they come off the bench and score goals. Already is hot when he comes off the bench and scores goals.
Mariano's not hot now for Real Madrid when he comes off the bench, so you can't say that. Even Higuain was hot at Real Madrid coming off the bench.
Yeah, he was a super sub. Even when you signed him on certain video games, they'll say super sub because that was his job. Like, if we're not getting a goal, come in here, score, go sit down. That's why he actually gained weight, because he's like, I'm not going to play 90 anyway. But let's move on. Let's talk about the other player that might be on his way out of his, what do they call it, the parent club? Out of his parent club. We're talking about Mo Keane. Now, Mo Keane did join Everton from Juventus, and then Everton was like, you know what, just go to PSG. And he was their mainstay goal scorer when Mbappe was not available, when a lot of players were not available. This was the man to go to for goals. The question is now, does PSG want him permanently? What's going to happen there?
Seems like PSG wants him permanently. It seems like Poch wants to sign him. But it's interesting to think about it because, you know, like I said yesterday, that one of the players that Poch really adored the most in this team was Mauro Icardi. You know, he played him quite a lot, and he played him ahead of Mo Keane. You know? So it's kind of interesting to see that they want to take Keane and keep him. I wonder if they're going to play him as, you know, maybe the first choice striker. What's going to happen there? Because on top of that, they don't like playing with a top striker. I mean, they play with Neymar up front or Mbappe up front. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be very interesting. But here's Mo Keane's career stats. He started at Verona. Of course, he was coming from the Juventus under-17 side before he went to Verona. And 20 appearances in Verona and scoring 4 goals. That was enough to warrant him a return to Juventus first team, where he got 21 appearances in the following season, getting 8 goals. And most of those appearances, Mo, by the way, they were from the bench. You look at his Everton career, that's the one where it took a big turn because it changed his career fully. 37 appearances, 4 goals, 2 assists was not enough to earn him a spot.
At least he got assists that season.
Yeah, he got assists that season, you know, but it was not enough. And you look at his PSG stint right now, which is currently looks like his most successful stint. If you put the numbers together, it looks like it's definitely his most successful stint. 17 goals, 1 assist in 41 appearances. And we must make mention that not all those 41 appearances were starts. So I do think that Mo Keane he's a good striker. I mean, he's only 21 years old. He's got a lot more to do in terms of growth as a striker. But for what he's shown us, I mean, he's showing glimpses of Mario Balotelli here and there, you know. And I do think that he's a striker that deserves another chance at PSG. I mean, we saw the difference between when he played for Everton and when he played for PSG. I think he's a player for a big occasion, and I think PSG should sign him.
Obinos thinks that PSG should sign him. Let's see if the Italian team think he's worth selecting. Let's see who they talk with them in terms of the Euro 2020, 2021 edition. Let's see who's making it into that 11. That's what they should call it.
It was called 2020, 2021.
Yeah, it's the Euro 2020, 2021 edition.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Is it not true?
It's true, but yeah,
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm actually surprised that they actually went and still called it Euro 2020, like all the other tournaments as well, like Copa America 2020.
Yeah, it's still
Surprised.
2020, 2021 edition. Let's see the squad. Let's see who made it in and who's not in the Italian squad. We looked at England, we've looked at Spain. It's time for us to look at Italy. So as you can see, obviously that first one, Gianluigi, is Gianluigi Donnarumma. That's the first name you have to see there.
Then there's Alex Meret and there's Salvatore Sirigu, who makes a return to the national team at his old age, but pretty good. Good to see him back in there.
One hell
And then
of a backup.
defenders, you've got Francesco Acerbi from Lazio, you've got Alessandra Bastoni, Leandro Bonucci, Giorgio Chiellini, Giovanni De Lorenzo, you've got Emerson Palmeria, who barely plays for Chelsea, but he's in this lineup. Alessandro Florenzi, Gianluca Mancini, you've got Leandro Spinazzola in there as well, and Rafael Toloi, who is the right back for Atalanta currently. So that's how they're looking at the back. And I was looking at this line, at just this whole squad with Bavu just now, and Bavu was not impressed. He's like, washed team, and I think it is a washed team. I mean, they're not in the golden era anymore, but they still got some very good players going up front. I mean, Nicolo Barella recently coming off a Scudetto win with Inter Milan. You've got Brian Cristante there struggling at Roma currently. Jorginho, you've got Manuel Locatelli, you've got Lorenzo Pellegrini in there, Matteo Pessina, Stefano Sensi, Marco Verratti's in there as well. When you look at the forwards, they've got Andrea Bellotti, Domenico Berardi, you've got Federico Bernardeschi, who's currently the captain of the national team, Federico Chiesa, you've got Ciro Immobile, and Lorenzo Insigne, and Matteo Politano. Interesting, no Moise Kean in there, but he did play 2 days ago in a friendly that Italy played. So I don't know if he's been selected or not, because his name is not there. His name was not there on the official document saying that these are the players that are going to Euro 2020. But we saw him playing for Italy 2 days ago when they played in an international friendly. So I don't know what's going on there.
All right, let's move right along and talk about Manchester United, because Tom Heaton is on his way to Manchester United. The question is De Gea leaving? Is Tom Heaton going to be the number one? Is he going to be the number two to Dean Henderson? There's a whole bunch of questions that we have as footballing fans. Now, the question is De Gea out? That's what I care most about. Like, Dean Henderson was the player that should have played in the Euro finals, if you asked me. I mean, the Euros. No, the UEFA.
One thing that happened,
Europa.
he was the goalkeeper. He was the goalkeeper at the beginning of the group stages. Dean Henderson was the goalkeeper, the trusted goalkeeper in terms of cup competition. But remember, there was a point of time when David De Gea actually had to go to Spain because his girlfriend was about to give birth to their baby. And that's when Dean Henderson was made the first choice at Man United. And that kind of changed. I think Oli didn't want to kill the goalkeeper's mentality and rather made him a league goalkeeper. And when De Gea returned, De Gea started playing all the cup games. So that's how I saw that that's been the change in there. I do think it's the end of an era for De Gea. I mean, if you look at, just take it back to the final when you saw his face after he missed that penalty. So emotionless. Before as well.
Like, I looked at that man in the post that whole game, and I thought to myself, this is a player who knows his fate. This is a player that knows that he's on his way out. He really doesn't care even if he gets this medal or not. He doesn't want to be there anymore. Yeah. He's been saying that since Real Madrid came knocking and said, you are the first choice we want to bring here. And then Manchester United held him back. If anything, Manchester United is the team that held him back, and that's why he doesn't look satisfied sitting in that seat. But let's move on to two players that are on the move. This is Kun Aguero moving on to Barcelona, and Gini Wijnaldum. Now, the one has already done his medicals with the national side, or he's doing them with the national side, which is Gini Wijnaldum. And then when you look at Kun Aguero, we can assume that he's already done his medicals because he's on his way.
Yeah, it was said a couple of seasons ago, a couple of days ago rather, that Kun Aguero was actually in Spain already. So he was there before Gini Wijnaldum. I mean, his signing looks like it's ready. It's done. He is signed already with the team. But Gini is the one we're waiting for confirmation situation. Personal terms have been agreed. Nothing has been signed. But what will be happening is that Barcelona will be sending their medical team to do the tests with Gini Vallandam while he's part of that Netherlands squad.
You know, I always wonder what are personal terms. You know, imagine if these were regular things in real life. Like if you were a cashier at Checkers and you had to go to another Checkers and they're like personal terms have been agreed with the main lane Checkers and you're moving there. What are the personal terms? Are they buying you a house in Pitori? Are they buying you a house in Mamelodi? What's going on?
The personal terms are just simple, more. It's like just
your paycheck.
Are you signing, dog?
No, those are not personal terms.
It's
Do you
personal terms.
Do you think they fly you out
That's
from?
what it is.
Do you think they fly you out from Soweto to main lane just to ask you to vet?
No,
Wait.
that
They
can
must
be
tell
done
you
via Skype.
They must tell you what figure out to pay. We found you a place, Mamelodi Extension 2, and then also via song. Now it takes you your imams. You know, they must give you those are the personal
It can
terms.
be done via Skype, my guy. That's it. You know, personal terms can be agreed via Skype before the players meet. You know, or the coach. Usually, what we hear is that the coach has met up with the player and they discuss, you know, the future.
Those are the personal terms.
And yeah, once
What's that?
I think you have to sell it to the player. You have to sell the idea of what is your plan as a coach for this team. You know, and where do you see this player?
We're out of time.
Personal
We're out of
terms.
time. Let's talk about Thiago Silva now. He wants to extend his stay at Chelsea. Obviously, for one reason only. Do you know why he wants to stay at Chelsea one more season?
No.
You don't know? Out of all the things possibly, I mean, if I was him, I want the Champions League. It's what I came to Europe to get. I need to go. And he says, I want to stay one more season. Why do you think he's trying to extend his stay? To
I think he's
2022.
just enjoying his time there, Chelsea.
He's like Premier League title, boy. He doesn't want to go out without a Premier League title, boy. It's like, you know what? I already got the FA Cup. Is it the FA Cup or Carabao Cup they've got?
It's the FA Cup.
He's already got the FA Cup. He's already got the Champions League.
They
All
lost
he
the
needs.
FA Cup. They lost the FA Cup final to Leicester.
Oh yes, the FA Cup was lost to Leicester.
They don't have nothing.
So at this moment in time, he must be thinking to himself, I just need myself a Premier League title so I can be considered one of the greatest defenders that have ever did it. Because if he leaves England without it, then it's like, yeah, but did he win it? Did he win it though? You know? He must be thinking to himself, he's got to.
I think he just played most of his career in a country that we don't really regard as the best leagues. You know, like
he
French
knows
football,
that.
You know, so
He knows that.
I don't know. Look, he's a bit on the other side of 30.
30, yeah.
I mean, he's
Not
like
a bit, a lot.
He's 36.
A lot, not a little bit.
He's like 36 years old, you know,
Yeah.
and but he still looks very fresh. I won't lie, he looks very fresh. He did make a mistake in his first few games. I think it was against West Brom when they played 3-3. He made a very big mistake in
remember
that
that
game.
mistake, yeah.
But I do think that since then, you know, he's grown in leaps and bounds. I mean, Chelsea really trust him. But I have heard that Chelsea are trying to go into the transfer market and get another defender. I don't know what's going on at Chelsea. This will be probably the sixth defender on that
Yeah,
list.
they're trying to sell Zuma. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be looking at the build-up to the Euro 2020.
You're locked into Super TV. Only on OpenView, channel 150.
are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Welcome back to Mo Sports. Well, some things are just hilarious in life, you know, when you're sitting in a quiet place and Iron Man is being told how to be Iron Man by another Iron Man. It's not
Iron Man.
It's an example that OB.KNOWS also doesn't get, but I'll explain it to you at home. Welcome back to Mo Sports. My name is Mo, this is OB.KNOWS, and as usual, we're talking all things football. A little Marvel inspiration right there, but let's take it back to the soccer. I know.
Do you know that video of the two car guards where so there's these two car guards, right?
Yeah.
And one of them, they had both watched Avengers the day before. So they were talking about Iron Man.
Oh yeah, so
You know it?
I know it. Well,
Iron Man.
let's give you guys the Mo Riddle for starts talking about Avengers one more time.
I'm
Here is the Mo Riddle, and don't forget the number is 071-621-4746. That's the number you have to save so you can submit your answer for the Mo Riddle. It's that easy. It's just that easy. Just go ahead on your phone right now. Make those things happen. Let's move on and talk about the Euros. Now, I just want to get one thing clear because at this moment in time, I'm very confused when it comes to the Euros. I know they start on the 11th of June and they end on the 11th of July, which means that we have a good window here on Mo Sports to go gaga over football. But who's hosting this thing?
So there is no actual host, right?
So it's a society in fact.
Combination, yes. Like a site.
No, it's a society.
It's not a society, it's site.
No man.
Hey, oh.
Is that how they call it in your hood? In
Get
bro?
site, yeah.
Get site.
Get site.
That's a society.
No, it's too much society.
I also wonder, are we pronouncing it wrong? Maybe people at home are laughing like these ones are too young. They don't know.
Sighting. Is that how it is?
Or maybe it's your aunt to say that like with an accent, but it's society talk.
They don't say kya society.
They go-
Sighting. I would know.
So who are the host countries? Because I saw that there's 11 host countries, 11 cities.
Yeah, there's 11 host countries, and
wait, hold on.
Because
11th of June, 11th of July, 11 host countries, 11 cities, 11 players on the pitch. What is going on here?
some faga. Don't add me with your conspiracy theories.
11.
Some faga. But the 11 countries is Azerbaijan, Denmark, England, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Netherlands, Romania, Russia, Scotland, and Spain. And
As usual.
semi-finals.
As usual, England has to host the important games.
The semi-finals and the finals will be happening at Wembley. Right? The opening games will be at Stadio Olimpico.
So now, here's the thing. If they hosted in England, nobody knows. We just heard the drama about Old Trafford not being up to par. There's a rat infection and all that stuff. So you can't be out here playing the Euros. Next thing, there's Tom crossing the pitch. Jerry's behind him. They're trying to get him. Imagine the corner just in Tom. There's also out there, Tom is trying to get it.
Yeah. I don't know why they decided to do it like this. I mean, I understand that, they're trying to,
Maybe they're trying to dodge like COVID.
Yeah, they're trying to dodge COVID, of course. But now if these teams are coming from different places, my guy, and they're flying in, that for me seems like there's more chances of them catching COVID than them being in an actual bubble, like the way they've been doing it. Just put them in a bubble, make them play.
But which country can offer like a proper bubble?
Make them play in Bucharest, because that's where they played some of the Champions League games. They'll play in that empty stadium, let them finish it there.
So, but first of all, now if you think about it, if they try to take this thing to India, it's bad. India has its own COVID, variant. If you try to take it to South Africa, boom, South Africa has its own COVID variant. You can't take it to South America because of the history of, football when it comes to South America and Europe. So obviously, I think
England was the best choice, honestly.
But England, like I just said, Old Trafford has a problem with the stadiums.
Not all the stadiums have rat infections, my guy, whatever you're saying.
Infestations.
First of all, that's a whole infestation.
First of all, now think about it. Who's going to host the final? Okay, Wembley has to host the final. But who's going to host the semi-finals? Liverpool want to put Anfield in there because they have a new stand. But if you put in Anfield, then obviously the neighbors want to get involved because that's their old stadium.
My guy, it's not for them to choose, my guy. It's not for you to choose because there's nice stadiums. Think about it. Anfield is not even the top 5 in England right now because you have Wembley, you have Etihad, you have Tottenham Stadium, you have that stadium, London Stadium, the West Ham Stadium.
One, yeah.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? So there are stadiums. It was even used for the Olympics. So I do think that the best option they would have had was to take it to England. But
there's no fan of football who want to go play in England and not play at Anfield. Doesn't make sense. Let's go see who's participating in this tournament. Let's go find out on the website. Don't forget to SMS Super TV to 30978 if you also want to do these things that we're doing here. So taking a shortcut. Here are the teams that are participating. Let's go through them. So there's Austria in there. There's Belgium. There's Croatia. there's Czech Republic, there's Denmark, there's England, there's Finland, there's France, there's Germany, there's Hungary. There's Italy.
Hungary?
Yeah, I'm not Hungary. Then there's Italy. If I was Hungary, I'd go to Italy. See what I did there? Netherlands, North Macedonia, Poland, Portugal, Russia, Scotland, Slovakia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Turkey, Ukraine, and the Welsh are going to be part of this tournament. So those are the teams that are going to be participating.
Yeah.
Any team that you want to point at right now at this moment in time saying they're going to be the winners?
To say they're gonna be the winners. Winners is a big one, my guy. Can't just say winners, boy. I think we could be looking at a.
In fact, okay, who knows?
I'll give
Think
you a
about
top
that. Think about that. While we move on and talk about the national team selection. Now we're looking at, when we talk about the national team selection, we're talking about the German national team. We're not talking about everybody's national team. We're talking about who did Germany pick to go on to this expedition into Europe. Let's find out, because it is Joachim Löw's last tournament and you want to make an impact before he leaves. So let's see how he leaves it for Hansi Flick to come and take over. Let's see the team. So as you can see, there are the names. Bernard Leno, Manuel Neuer, Kevin Trapp are the three goalkeepers. Obi, take us to the defense.
Matthias Ginter is in there. Robin Gosens is in there as well. Christian Gunther and Marcel Halstenberg is in there as well. Matt Hummels, Lucas Klostermann, right back there. One of my favorite right backs in German football, actually. Robin Koch. You've got Koch. Okay. And Antonio Rudiger is in there. Nicholas Schuler is in there as well. Emre Can is in there. Serge Gnabry.
You sure it's not Emre Can?
It's Emre Can. Leon Goretzka, Ilkay Gundogan, Kai Havertz is in there, Jonas Hoffman, Joshua Kimmich, Toni Kroos is in there, Thomas Muller coming out of retirement for this one, Jamal Musiala, yeah, he's in there as well.
Use him immediately after you get it.
Florian Niehaus, Leroy Sané, Kevin Volland, and Timo Werner is in that squad.
But my question always remains that when these managers don't pick you, I mean, when you're a big player like Jerome Boateng and you don't get picked, does he call you personally and be like, yo, dude, don't be surprised tomorrow when you see this unfold, because I haven't picked you because I have younger players that I want to try out, that I want to see if they can actually participate in this tournament?
I actually hope that's how it went down, because, for me, I think...
It's not personal.
I understand it's not personal, but for a player of his caliber, I mean, we can say the same thing about Sergio Ramos here. It's pretty much the same thing. I think it's a thing of a conversation with such players, because these are players who are, not only are they expecting to be in the national team because they're good enough to be in there, they've performed well enough, but you also have players who have so much history with that national team that you want to have them to spread some of the wisdom within the team, and I think a conversation must have been had between Joachim Löw and Jerome Boateng, but I don't know if a conversation was had between Luis Enrique and Sergio Ramos, because it doesn't seem like there was a conversation between them two.
Yeah, because Luis Enrique doesn't keep Real Madrid players' numbers. He just keeps the players from Barcelona. Let's talk about the players that are not going to be participating in the Euros. We're talking about the likes of Erling Haaland, who didn't qualify. But bear in mind that he didn't qualify because he didn't get the goals in those qualifiers. Those crucial goals. It's almost his fault.
It was actually not. We were playing the World Cup qualifiers, actually.
It wasn't the Euros.
No, it was done already. They already knew their fate by that time.
Yeah.
So look, I think it was a very tough qualification group for them that they failed to get through, and it's disappointing because you're looking at a striker who's got 40 goals in all competitions this season. So I do think that you want to see some of these big names participate at the biggest level, but I do think as well that it's a chance for him to rest. It's a chance for him to come back next season, and I think that if he stays at Dortmund, which looks very likely to happen at this point of time, we might be looking at a very, very different Dortmund next season.
All right, moving on to the next player that is going to be participating. Jan Oblak, another player that didn't make it because they didn't qualify. That's a big loss, that one.
That's a big loss.
I mean, I would have loved to see him playing at this. But it now brings... okay, give me the question because I think I know the answer.
No, you don't. If you have two quality goalkeepers, right, which is right now, it's Samir Handanovic from Inter Milan, right, and you have Jan Oblak, two of your national goalkeepers, one of the best in the world. Who do you choose?
Oblak.
Really?
Oblak, one way, Oblak. I see Handanovic
Handanovic
and he's brilliant, but I'm going to go with this man.
Handanovic is the captain of the team.
Yeah, he must chill bench.
He's the Kune. He's like 48, I think.
There's a new thing that these kids are saying nowadays, rest. Have you heard that?
These kids
nowadays. These kids are saying rest now. So
He must rest.
Yeah.
I think
Tell him rest.
Oblak has been brilliant, man. I mean, I really favor him as the best goalkeeper in the world right now because the amount of clean sheets he keeps consistently year on, year out, you know, like at Atletico Madrid. If we can actually tally up, I'll actually come back with information. I'll tally up his clean sheets.
You know what, Obi knows.
from
Hold
the
that
past few
thought.
seasons.
Hold that thought. Hold that
Because he's
thought.
great.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll see if Obi knows has enough time to get all these clean sheets together so we can carry on this conversation and give us if Oblak or Handanovic will be his choice.
You're locked into Super TV. Only on OpenView, channel 150.
You are watching Super TV, OpenView, channel 150.
You're locked into Super TV. Only on OpenView, channel 150.
Welcome back to Mo Sports. Now, just before the break, Obi knows was talking to us about the player he would choose in polls between the stakes for is it Serbia?
Slovenia.
It's for Slovenia. Now, let me just give you an idea of where Obi knows ranks amongst the world's best managers. It goes Carlo Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Julian Nagelsmann. Obi knows, tell us.
What do you mean? Tell you what?
I mean, you are rated in the top 6, boy. So who are you choosing between Oblak and Handanovic?
Well, okay, the numbers are saying that it's Oblak.
The numbers, what are you saying though?
I'm saying it's Oblak. I mean, like, like what Oblak has done, like I've been saying, what Oblak has done at Atletico Madrid. I think what Atletico Madrid expected as well, after Thibaut Courtois left, they expected a dip in terms of their goalkeeping department. And to say the least, it actually went higher. It actually went higher because you compare the two goalkeepers now, and Oblak is head and shoulders above what Courtois can give you. And I think I say that without
But don't forget that
despise
Courtois was not Real Madrid's first choice.
When?
Real Madrid called and they said, we wanted the Gale. And United was like, but who are we going to get?
But come on, you're telling me that Thibaut Courtois at Chelsea wouldn't take him at any club?
No, you would take him, obviously. You would take him, obviously. But don't forget, he was not the first choice. He was not the first choice in the first place.
I get that.
And look at the man he was replacing. 3 Champions Leagues in a row, the goalkeeper there.
I get that.
You know what I mean?
That was not the goalkeeper I was replacing, actually. They were trying to replace Casillas.
No, but don't forget, after Casillas, who came in there?
No, it was not after. This was while Casillas was there, right? This was while Casillas was there. Then
The Champions League titles.
No. I mean, that first one when he came, Keylor Navas came the following season, right? He came in the following season, and he was not actually meant to be the first choice.
Yeah, but it was hot.
He was not meant to be the first choice.
He was
And
meant to be the
that
first
to
choice.
go with it was De Gea. That was the option. De Gea was the first option, right? That was the time. Because when Casillas left Real Madrid, that's when De Gea was being courted by Real Madrid.
Ovinos, let's let it go because now this is going to become a long debate about goalkeepers. Let's move on to the next player, Ovinos. Savage is also not involved in the Euros.
Milinkovic, Serge. I think Serge is one of the best midfielders in Italian football. I did say one of the best. He's very good on the ball. I mean, he's a very big guy as well. You know, he's an unorthodox player in that midfield. You know, but I think what he can do, box to box, the energy he has, it gives the team, you know, a lot in that midfield area. And I do think that if you have a player who has, just imagine N'Golo Conte who's bigger, like huge, and he runs around the field ragged. I think we're missing out on a lot of great players this Euro, but it's still fine because we have quite a lot of other players.
All right, the next player we're also missing out on is one by the name Miralem Pjanic. Pjanic is also one that's not going to make it to this Euro, and he's also a player that I personally in the midfield used to look to this. Like he's such a majestic player. I think he has the embodiment of what a traditional midfielder needs to be. The passing range, the movement in the middle. I mean, you've never seen him playing out, like he's never played out of that quarter. You've never bumped into him and he's playing in the striker's role. Like he's always where he needs to be.
Look, with Miralem Pjanic, I think the move to Barcelona is what kind of ruined his career.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't linger to see him play. Like you know, like it's fine whether he plays or not.
But it's Barcelona that kind of made him that player. At Juventus, he was one majestic midfielder. I mean, he was one of the best in the game. I mean, if you looked at the way he was playing at Juventus, I mean, the way he bossed that midfield. I mean, at some point, everyone in Europe was calling up Juventus to say, we want this player on the bench or on the team for our team roster. But when he went to Barca, I feel like he went to a Barca at the time when he was not the right player that fitted what Barcelona was trying to do. And that's what a lot of things, when you look at Barcelona's signings of recent, they've been signing players that are not fitting into their makeup, and that's where the problem lies.
I think it's not a problem of him fitting in. I think the biggest problem here was he the player that the coach wanted? Because you know, you have to think about these things. Pjanic was brought in. Remember, it was the deal between him and Natur. It happened mid-season of the previous season, before Koeman came. So I don't think that there was a player that Koeman thought would fit into his team. You know, and it was too late for him to make any decision because it was already over. You know, because the player was there already. So I do think that Barcelona, they should let him go because I don't think he's forming part of the big idea.
I think looking at the bigger picture, Barcelona was trying to get a passer of the ball. They were trying to get someone who could move the ball for them. I don't know what the logic was because at that moment in time, they were trying to find someone who could move the ball for them in the midfield. And by selling off Artur, they were looking for, I mean, if you're looking for an experienced player in midfield, you're looking for someone that's going to do the Xavi role all over again, which is where I think their mindsets were when they signed the player. So when you look at what they did with him, they didn't have the right team. In fact, Barcelona is, for me, I just want to say this before we move on to the next two players, because I believe that Barcelona, from the generation they were coming from, was very spoiled. They came with a generation that came from the same development structure, like the class of '92 for Manchester United. These boys come from the same structure, they come from the same philosophy, they understand what kind of football they're playing. They're not coming from various parts of the world, playing various types of football, and that's what made them gel so easily. Now, you look at a Barcelona that is trying to put that together with money signings. It's not going to happen. But let's move on and let's talk about the next two players. We'll put them together because it's Zlatan Ibrahimovic and it's Virgil van Dijk. These are two players that are going to go missing because of injury, obviously. They don't want to be available because they are currently injured. Now, let's go to the website, or should we leave the website?
We can go to the website and see what's going on. We can actually look at the Netherlands squad first before we go.
All right, let's look at the Netherlands squad because that's what we want to see. I don't think we should go to the website and look at the do you think we should go?
No, we can go. Grab
All right, okay, let's look at the squad first before we go to the website. As you can see, Tim Krul, Jasper, okay, Obi knows this is your job. I forgot that you're the one who follow out the names.
It's Tim Krul, Jasper Cillessen in there, Martin Stecklenburg. Surprising return to the national team for Martin Stecklenburg. I mean, he's the first choice now for Ajax since Onana is still serving that drug ban. And then you have the defenders, Joel Veltman from Ajax as well, Patrick van Aanholt, Nathan Ake, Duran Timber is in there. You have Stefan de Vrij, Owen Weindel in there as well, Daley Blind, Denzel Dumfries, and you've got Mathias de Ligt in there as well. I still think they've got a very, very solid backline. Like, despite the fact that Van Dijk is missing in that backline, which is a crucial player, I think they're still very much solid. But let's take a look at what's going on in the midfield. They've got Tien Cooper Mainers in there. Yeah, Koop Mainers.
South
Yeah.
Africa's names. Is what?
Koop Mainers, if I'm not mistaken, he plays for PSV Eindhoven.
Yeah.
Martin de Roon is in there. Jorginho Wijnaldum, Ryan Gravenberg. That is one player to look out for, Ryan Gravenberg. We've got Davy Klaassen in there as well. Donny van der Beek is in there. Frankie de Jong. And up front, they've got Steven Berghuis. They've got Cody Gakpo. They've got Memphis Depay, Doniel Malen, a player we should be looking out for. Luke de Jong, your boy, is in there as well. Quincy Promise is in there as well. While you've got Wout Weghorst, a player which I think finally deserves to be getting that national call-up.
All right, let's not waste any time. Let's give you the answer to the Mo Riddle before we wrap up the show. So who was the answer to the Mo Riddle? Well, the answer is this man right here. Here he is. Keita is the answer. As you can see, he's even stretching. His face is like all over the place. But thank you for joining us today on Mo Sports. From myself, OB.KNOWS, the Super TV team, and the Super Bets team. See you again on Wednesday from 1 to 3 p.m.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.